Well, this story is getting hotter by the day. State lawmakers now supporting a decision by a county clerk in the state of New York to withhold the names of gun owners. This move comes after a local newspaper published online maps of permit holders in nearby counties with both their names and their addresses with a link to their house online. Now, the Putnam County clerk says that releasing information of his residents in his county will put lives at risk. Have a listen to that.
I'm a man who follows the rule of law. We're not talking about the rule of law anymore. We're talking about endangering our citizens. These laws were written almost 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we didn't have computers. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have social media. And we certainly didn't have Google Maps. And I think that's what really broke the camel's back on this request.
Let's talk more about that. State Senator Greg Ball is one of the lawmakers supporting the move, and good morning to you.
Good to be here.
So you represent these three counties.
Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess.
And so two of the three have already released the names of legal gun owners living in their county.
Yeah, Westchester moved forward. We didn't get word until it was already done. Putnam
Okay,
County.
so now in Putnam County, you're resisting this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what if a court comes to you and says you must comply with the state law?
We're going to follow every legal remedy. That's certainly a possibility, but we want to take this as far as it goes. People have to understand that this is not a Second Amendment issue. This is a privacy issue. We have folks who support gun control who are going through the roof upset, just like proponents of the Second Amendment. Victims of domestic violence, literally, who got a permit to protect themselves and their young families, now exposed by an interactive map. I mean, the Journal News, in creating this map, still to this day, first they refused to comment, and you know, as a news organization, which is kind of interesting, they still have not given a cogent reason of why they did this.
You don't believe so?
I mean, not at all. I mean,
because they've been out talking every day, but the explanations they've given do not fly with you.
They're hiding in an undisclosed location in a bunker. They put out a release on the very first day. They connected it to the Connecticut shooting and said that, you know, somehow that this is going to help end, you know, future atrocities.
The shooting in Newtown. You called them eggheads.
That's fitting. I would have called them something else, but I think I was on the record.
If you weren't on camera.
Yeah.
I asked you about this court case because this is what they're saying. This is a Freedom of Information Act that's been on the books for 38 years.
Right.
Goes back to 1974.
Yeah.
But what do you make about the argument that, you know, technology is so pervasive these days, it's an invasion of your privacy.
Can you imagine?
And furthermore, it tells the would-be criminals who does not live with a gun in that community.
Go back to the example of victims of domestic violence. Those who got a permit to protect themselves are now exposed. You know, as a government official, we go through great lengths to make sure that victims of domestic violence can conceal their whereabouts for good reason. They're exposed. Now also are exposed to the people who don't have a permit, the victims of domestic violence who don't have a permit, so that nut job can show up to their doorstep. A lot of cops, we're in the New York City metropolitan area. We have a lot of retired New York City police officers who didn't put, people selling illegal candy away. They put gang members, murderers, the worst of the worst. This is New York City. Now the Journal News creates an interactive map so these nut jobs can go on.
I understand the point you're making. I wonder ultimately if you can win. Or whether or not the newspaper can beat you because of what the law states.
Two things that we
there was a case 30 years ago in 1981 where a court ruled in favor of a newspaper that was challenging the county.
There are other states like Virginia and others that do have protections in place. We have to pass the legislation to make sure that because of the fact that this law is outdated, that this is considered, certain family court proceedings, tax records, medical records are all considered personal and can be kept confidential. People are allowed to not even have their name on their mailbox for reasons of privacy concerns. Can you imagine if the Journal News created a map of all those who are accepting dollars through public assistance? Everybody that has a kid that's on a school lunch program.
You raise a lot of good points, too.
You do have a right to a certain amount of privacy in this country.
Right, and the point you make about endangering the public is an interesting twist on this. It's almost ironic when you think about what the intention was on behalf of the newspaper and how it could ultimately play out. We're going to watch it, for weeks now. And Greg Ball, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right.